Okay, we're officially live here. Give it a few minutes for people to join in on the socials. Regular session just ended. Just heard the closing bell. Okay. All right, so today, look at SPY and Triple Q. Sold off a bit to end the day. Nonetheless, they ended green. S&P was up 0.25%. NASDAQ was up 0.3%. Even the Dow was up 0.6%. VIX back below 16, down almost 5% today. 10-year yield was green, up 0.5%. Even the dollar was green, 0.3%. So green across the board here today, even with the little bit of selling that came in at the end of the day. But today we have only one company reporting earnings. Kind of a slow week this week. You can see earnings whispers, just one little company here that, well, not little company, they got estimated $3 billion in revenue. Let's click on that and see what's going on with them. So the forecast EPS is $1.81. Forecast revenue is $3 billion. Their anchored VWAP's right at 180. They're trading way above that. So they're supposed to report at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. So about another 4 minutes. Since it's just one company reporting, I'll put JB Hunt on the right here. It's the 5-minute chart. A little bit of volatility here just now. Let me go 1-minute chart. Yeah, a little bit. Kind of wicked up to 208 and came back down. Trading on low volume. Their average volume over 3 months is 1.29 million per day. So far, they got 1.11 million. So even on an earnings day, they didn't even beat their average volume. So we'll see how they end up reacting. The data should drop in about 3 minutes. I'll keep SPY on the left. Not that the two have anything to do with each other, but since I'm only going over one stock today. I mean, JB Hunt's a $200 stock. Let's look at some of the financials. So positive PE ratio, trailing 12 months, 35.7. Positive EPS, trailing 12 months, 5.78. They even pay a small dividend, 0.85%, according to Webull. 75 million float. See how often they pay the dividend. Probably quarterly. So they just paid one in November, a few months ago, and then August. Yeah, so it's quarterly dividend. Most companies going to have the quarterly. Let's look at. I want to look at the weekly chart. Let me go back to. Well, first let me see what their income statement. Just kind of like a bird's eye view. Okay, yeah, no, this company looks healthy. Very positive net income quarter after quarter for the past 5 quarters. And even on the annual basis, they've had positive net income for 5 years in a row. Very, very nice. Debt to asset, only 55%. That's good. Cash and equivalents, 52 million. I think their cash and equivalent position could be better for a stock trading in the 200s. This as of September 30th, they had 52 million. We'll see what they report today, but you'd think a stock trading in the 200s would have a little bit more cash on hand. But other than that, I mean, it looks like a fundamentally sound company. Let's see here, 5-minute chart, a little more volatility coming in. And for those that don't know, they're in freight and logistics. JB Hunt Transport Services says right in the company name, right? It's a surface transportation delivery and logistics company in North America. All right. pretty big name. Most people have heard of JB Hunt. Okay, it's 4:05. Let me go back to TradingView. And right here. Okay, it's getting a negative reaction so far. It's down 4%. Let me see if I can get the data real quick. Let's see if this ends up being the real move, or is it going to pop back up? Usually give it a few minutes. Okay, candle's moving again. I'm going to go get the info from their investor page. JBHT. Okay, so far negative reaction, down 3.8%. That's about $8 a share. All right, let me check their homepage for investor relations and see if they dropped the press release. Yep, here it is right here. So I'll move this over here to the left. January 15th, here's the press release straight from their website. I'll put this website in the comments if anyone wants to go there and browse around. Okay, let me click on this press release and see what they. Okay, fourth quarter 2025 revenue, $3.10 billion, down 2%. All right, that's not good. Hence why they're getting a negative reaction here. So the revenue is actually down 2%. Operating income was up. Diluted EPS $1.90 versus $1.53. That is up 24%. So that's good. That's just for the fourth quarter of 2025. For the full year of 2025, they brought in $12 billion in revenue. Gee, that's huge. But that's down 1%. So they got some issues with revenue growth. Basically, they don't have revenue growth right now. Okay. But operating income seems to be up and EPS seems to be up. As we've said time and time before, investors care about revenue a little more than the other line items mostly. But let's just read some of this here. Some commentary from Shelley Simpson, who's the president and CEO. And they say, our team finished the year with another quarter of strong execution and financial results. And I'm keeping the chart over here on the right. And they said, we have momentum with our operational excellence that is setting us apart with customers. We achieved a record year in safety for the third consecutive year and remain focused on improving our financial performance to drive long-term value for our company and our shareholders. All right, let me go over here to the Discord and start the stream over there. We had so many streams in the Discord today. Let me go back here. Yeah, we had like back-to-back streams today. So we've been juggling around the streams. But let me get the Discord people in here. Okay, what's up, everybody?
Stream in Eastern. As far as the Discord goes,
Okay, I had a y'all probably heard that. That was one of our other staff members doing a stream right now, so that's okay. So anyways, let me. So that's a little bit of commentary from the president and CEO. The total operating revenue for the current quarter was $3 billion, compared with $3.15 billion for the fourth quarter of 2024. So same time a year ago, right? Let me refresh my other screen here and see if there's anything else. Okay, yeah, here's a nice little graphic here from AI Stock Savvy. And this kind of just summarizes. So EPS, like I said, they beat EPS. EPS is up 24% year over year, but it's the revenue that investors aren't liking right now. That's down. They missed revenue. And not only did they miss revenue, but it's down year over year. So that's just, you know, the investors are not taking that positively for sure. So that's kind of the red flags I'm seeing right now. Is mainly on the revenue side. Like I said, they did a good job and showed growth with operating income and EPS, but its revenue across the board is down. No growth whatsoever there. So that's the problem that I see with JB Hunt right now and the reaction they're getting on the earnings data. Let me look at a few other things, and then we'll find out when their earnings web call is going to be. And let's see here. Also, operating expenses were a little more than they were. So that's another little red line item there. But let's find out when they're going to do their earnings web call. What time is this? 4:10 p.m. All right, let me go back over here. And just another, let me check another thing. Net interest expense in the current quarter decreased primarily from a lower average interest rate, partially offset by higher average outstanding debt balance compared to fourth quarter 2024. Okay, let's see here. Operating income increased. We already went over that. DCS revenue increased 1%. Operating income increased 9%. We went over that already as well. I want to see when they're going to do their call. Let me see here. And also for cash flow and capitalization for JB Hunt, as of December 31st or at December 31st, excuse me, they had a total debt outstanding of $1.47 billion on various debt instruments compared to $1.48 billion a year ago. So which means their debt kind of remained the same. Net capital expenditures of 2025 approximated $575 million versus $674 million in 2024. So capital expenditures went down. So that's good. And as at December 31st, they had cash and equivalents of $17 million. See, that's what I was talking about earlier when we looked at their cash and equivalent position. It's gone down. So we were looking at that before over here on their, or was it their balance sheet is what we were looking at. September 30th, they had 52 million. Now they're saying they only got 17 million. So that's also another red flag for me, that their cash and equivalent position has substantially gone down. Investors don't like that. They like companies with good cash position in case of unforeseen circumstances, if you will. But you can see it's being reflected in the price, the stock price right now. Hasn't found a bottom yet. It did come down to 196.35, and it just breached that level just now. So it just hit 196. I just wanted to see on the bigger time frames what could be some support here. Let me drag this over real quick. We'll squeeze SPY over here on the left. Okay, this is the daily chart. I want to see the. Let me take this off. I don't need that right now. Let's see the volume profile. There we go. All right, this is price action from September of 2025. So September, October, November, December, January, what's that? 5 months of price action. You can see the volume that's come in at different levels. Right now it's trading at basically 195. This is this light blue line. You can see, I don't know if you can see that on my screen. That's the TradingView's nice enough to put the post-market price action on the daily chart for us. So it's trading a little bit below 195 right here. You can see it lost support, which was in the upper 190s. See a bit of volume came in right there. That's also where it was trading sideways. So that's definitely a level of interest for me, is probably 197 to 198, around there. It's trading below that right now. It's trading just below that. I'm gonna mark a line right there because that's probably going to be resistance. I'll probably call that 197.50. Just kind of give an average there of that little range. It was when it was trading sideways. Kind of slap it right in the middle of there. Lines up with the volume node on the volume profile here as well. So here's where the price is trading at right now, right below that white line. Probably some support around 180, 189, around there. Let me zoom out a bit more because I want to get a lot of price action in this. We'll wait for that to reset. Okay, so like on a bigger term looking view, this is almost 1 year of price action. So you want to get, the times down here at the bottom on the screen to get the correct volume profile readout for the amount of time you're looking at, right? So you can just go down here. So this is from February of last year to present time. Bulk of the volume came in right here in the upper 160s. Like bigger time frame level of interest, definitely going to be right there for support. But we can zoom in a little bit and get more of recent price action. We'll wait for the volume profile to reset, which it just did. And you can see there's probably another level of interest. I don't know how strong it would be, but it's basically where all these doji candles printed right here, 4 trading days in a row. That probably, and that's right around 188. So, we'll see. There could be some structural support with this. Looks like maybe a double bottom here. That could be another level. But I'm just trying to, point out some levels on the chart for myself that, when I go pull the chart up on smaller time frames, boom, these bigger time frame levels are already there, right? I like to mark my levels on the bigger time frames. I think I'm going to go ahead and put one right below this double bottom right there, like that, 193.50. So those are kind of the support levels I'm looking at. This one down here at the bottom, I'll probably make red just to let me know it's like an important bigger time frame. You can see that's where the ton of volume came in right there. If I could nibble or take a bite out of JB Hunt here in the one, if it ever did get back down to the 160s, that's where I'd be looking to pick something up there. Maybe accumulate some shares, start selling some covered calls against my position to lower my cost basis. I still got a gap to fill down here, but that's okay. Let me go over here. So we got some levels marked out. Let me go back intraday. See if it's trying to find the bottom. What's up, Meta Matt? How you doing? My buddy Meta Matt, he's also one of the staff members over here in the Discord. He does a lot of the crypto stuff and stuff like that. He's letting me know that the free live stream in Discord is free now. I mean, at this point, the stream's like half over, so I'll probably just stay here. And let me see some other things real quick. Oh yeah, we got to find out when JB Hunt's going to do their earnings call. Let me pull that up for everybody, and let me move this back over so we can keep our eye on the price, because it does look like, I don't know, it's trying to bottom out here. There's a green candle printing right now, but again, trading on low volumes, I'm not sure how much I trust these candles. Let me see. Let me go over here. All right, conference call information right here. It starts at 4 p.m. Central Time, which is going to be 5 p.m. Eastern. All right, so they're going to do their conference call in about 40 minutes. Okay. So you got a little bit of time before that starts. So now that we know when their conference call is, and we already know the results, just kind of a recap. They did a good job beating EPS, and there was growth with the EPS. However, they missed revenue, and there's no growth with revenue. This is why they got a negative reaction. They're down 4.39% right now in after hours. I'm gonna let me get rid of this line just for a second. I want to see where 25% retrace. I'm gonna put the top line kind of right where they closed at. Yeah, like right here. And yeah, you can see it's trying to get back above the 25% retrace. That's right around 197.50. That was the line I just deleted from the bigger time frame. Let me actually make this yellow. There we go. That way the white lines are the bigger time frame levels, and this is the post market levels, if you will. Easy way to keep track there. So looking like it might do a dead cat bounce here because it got rejected off this 25% retrace, and now it's heading back down to possibly test after hours low. So I'm not too confident the bottom's in. I'd like to see some of these fib levels, get reclaimed. Just going to put it at 197.50 would be R1 on the post-market timeframes. 197.50, and then R2 resistance 2 right at 199. I'd want to see at least those two levels get reclaimed before my confidence on this that the bottom's actually in goes up. So right now I don't have much confidence that this is going to go back the other way anytime soon as far as this post market goes. Now if some of these levels start getting reclaimed, hey, maybe the bulls are onto something there. But right now I just don't see it. Okay. So anyways, so to summarize, they missed revenue, which is why I think investors are taking this negatively right now. They beat EPS, and there was some growth there, and also operating income also was green. But that just goes to show, just that one line item of revenue, it's almost like the EPS and operating income beats. It's like almost like they don't even mean nothing. It's just the revenue. That's investors hate seeing there being no growth. And not even being able to meet the forecasts for this earnings announcement. So anyways, they're going to do their earnings web call at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's a little after 4. It's 4:21 right now. I want to look at some of the profits. Actually, let's go to my alert channel and see what kind of trade. We've got over 150 people tuning in right now. How's everyone doing? It's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Be the end of the week. One more trading day left. Then we can all chill out on the weekend and recharge our batteries. But let me take a look at some of my recent trades here. Also, I did a seminar today. It was a 1 hour long seminar, and it was all about credit spreads. I streamed with a bunch of people live on Zoom, and I talked about credit spreads for a whole hour, and we took a deep dive into credit spreads. We talked about put credit spreads. We talked about call credit spreads, and we had a lot of fun. I was showing everyone how to open the spreads and how to close them, and it truly was a walkthrough tutorial, almost like a boot camp on credit spreads. And the numbers I've been pulling by trading credit spreads is I target 20% return on capital, and my win rate is about 70% or more. It kind of varies. Sometimes it's 80%. Q4 of last year, I was at like 90% win rate. But things have been going good in the spread world. But anyways, that credit spread boot camp, it was free to all the Discord members. So I'm going to start doing a webinar like that once a month, every month. This actually was my second one. The first one was all about the wheel strategy, and then this one was all about credit spreads. I think the next one I'm going to do next month is going to be all about debit spreads. And then, I have a ton of content that I can go over. I've got like a year's worth of content, just doing monthly streams, like webinars like that. So, for the next, 12 months or 11 months of this year, every single month is going to be a new webinar based on something new, a type of strategy, a way of trading. Maybe a different way of trading that you weren't aware of. And I do a lot of diagonal calendar spreads as well. I have a lot of fun trading those. And just to kind of summarize what that is I'll go probably like 3 or 4 months out on the option chain, and I'll actually buy some out of the money put options. And then what I'll do is I'll use those 3 to 4 month out of the money put options. I'll use those as collateral to be able to sell weekly cash secured puts. And what that does is it forms a diagonal calendar spread is probably the technical term there. And but what that does is it reduces the buying power needed on the cash secured put side by sometimes like 90%. So it's a beautiful thing, and the reason for that is because we're using those longer dated puts as collateral, so we no longer need the full cash buying power position to cover the cash secured put on its own, if that makes sense. So the new buying power needed, instead of the full buying power needed for the cash secured put, the new buying power needed is simply the width of your diagonal calendar spread, which again will reduce your buying power needed on those weekly trades by like 90%. So it's pretty cool. And usually, like I say, I'll trade those for like 3-4 months, and what we're after there is weekly income. We call it like Fridays our payday, right? So we're after weekly income and that type of trading. But yeah, just kind of that's a lot of the types of trades that I do in the Discord. This was a NVIDIA spread. Got 77% on that today. Didn't make a ton of money, but hey, I'm telling you, these little bits add up. You're making $75 here, $100 there, and you're doing it several times a week. And at the end of the month, you got a few $1,000s in additional cash flow. So that's what it's all about for me. I just over the years, I just wanted, how can I trade and be able to make a few extra $1,000s a month, right? And for whatever I want it to go towards. And usually what I do is I'll make a few $1,000s a month by writing contracts. And then at the end of the year, you got 20, 25K sitting there. And then what I'll do is I'll actually roll that into a real estate deal that a true passive income requires no screen time. And I've been doing private lending on the real estate side for the past few years. So I'll take that money and I'll loan it out to an investor and charge them interest. And then I'll collect interest payments every month on that. So that's just kind of give you an idea of like, okay, I trade, every day. But what do I do with my profits at the end of the year? And that's just what I do with them. So anyways, that was a NVIDIA trade I closed out earlier. That's just a post about the webinar I actually did today. This was the NVIDIA spread I did, which paid 22% return on capital. I got the bulk of that, almost 80% of that profit this morning. And then here's just a bunch of this is just a summary of my recent spread trades. So I got to add the new NVIDIA one, but that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 winners in a row. The last losing spread trade I had was actually a hedge trade. And what I used on that, it was I was long on like 4 or 5 different positions, and I wanted to be able to make some money if the market did pull back. And what I did was I opened up some SPY put debit spreads. I do trade debit spreads as well. And that was more of like an insurance policy where it's just there so I can sleep at night. It's there so if there is a down move in the market, I can actually make some money instead of sitting there on the sidelines and doing nothing, right? I like to make money whether the market's going up or down. And of course, having a hedge in place for any long positions you may have is definitely a smart thing to do, in my opinion. This was a SoFi spread, easy $100 on that one. This was a Google spread, that was easy money. This is the setup of the SoFi spread. This one paid 27% return on capital, 68% chance of profit when I opened it. Option Strat's kind enough to do the formula for me to get my chance of profit. And if you trade on Tasty Trade, they call it pop. They're always like, what's the pop rate? That's the percentage of profit. Same thing as chance of profit, really. So that was a SoFi trade. This was a Google spread. I didn't make a lot of money on this, but I was kind of felt a little uneasy about how the volatility in the markets kind of picked up a little bit. And I figured, hey, I'll take 36% on that and just, take all my risk off the table. And then this was the setup for the Google trade. This was a $2.50 wide spread. And I usually do a handful of these. This is just the numbers on one spread if you did one of them. But Google was trading at 314.56 at the time when I opened it. And I felt pretty good that there was some support around the mental level of 310, and it lined up with my volume profile and some price action around that level. So I decided to open up a put credit spread. Vertical put credit spread is the technical term for it. Option Strat calls it bull put spread. That's just helps people remember what direction it is, right? Because the put credit spread, you're technically short the put. A lot of people, remember it by bull put spread, which tells you you would need a bull. You'd be biased to the upside, so you'd have a bullish bias. So I don't really like that slang term of bull put spread, because these spreads can actually be winners if the underlying stock trades sideways. So I look at it as more of a neutral to bullish trade, if you will. So anyways, this was a bull put spread or a put credit spread, which either name you want to use. It was a $2.50 wide spread. I put it right at the 310 strike, was the strike I was short. So I was short the put. That's why it's neutral to bullish. And then the strike I bought to open on the same trade ticket was the 307.50. So that formed a 250 wide spread, is the width of that spread. Of course, in the options world, we times everything by 100. So that means you need $250 in buying power. Your broker would put that on hold while the trade's open, right? So that's the money you would need to trade just one spread. But this spread paid $71 a spread. So that was good enough for me. Had a chance of profit of 67%. And if you're receiving $71 credit for each spread, and you need $250 in buying power to open the spread, that's a 28% return on capital if the spread works out. And of course, the spread worked out, right? This was a nice winner, actually, and quite a few people in the Discord made money on that with me. So that was a nice one. And then these are just a bunch of cash secured puts. I do a lot of short strangles as well. If anyone knows what a short strangle is, it's similar to an iron condor, but you don't have the long legs on each side. You just have the short legs. So basically what happens is you got a stock right here, and then let's say you've been running the wheel strategy on it and you finally get assigned shares, right? So now you're on the covered call side, and you're using your shares as collateral to generate income on the call side. So you have the stock price in the middle. You have your covered calls on top of the stock price. And then what you can do is take a little bit of extra buying power, and you can deploy some more cash secured puts underneath the price. So in essence, you got the stock price in the middle, you got the covered calls above the price, and then you got the cash secured puts below the price. And that's why we call it a short strangle, because you're short the call on top and then you're short the put on the bottom. The calls are covered. The collateral being used for that short call is your shares. So you don't have to worry about any extra capital or any funny business as far as being short the call naked, right? You don't want to sell naked calls, because then you're asking for a margin call from your broker, and no one wants that. So the way around that is you just have the shares as collateral for your call, which in essence is just a regular covered call. Nonetheless, you got the covered call on top of the price collecting income, and then you have the cash secured put below the price collecting income. So that's a double income strategy, and we call it a short strangle. And I've been doing quite a bit of those lately, producing some great income. So these spread trades, that's why I'm okay not really getting rich off these. What I'm after is consistent income. So these profits here are from the spread trades. This was the bull spread I did, easy $150 on that, almost 80%. But my point is the bulk of my capital is going to wheel strategy trades, and I'm targeting 3% on my capital every month on that. So at the end of the year, I can beat the S&P annual average by 3x or more. I'd be happy with 2x, 20% return on my port at the end of the year. I'd be just happy with that. But I do try and target, 3% a month to try and get that 3x if I can. And I don't think that's being too greedy. I know some traders that they want to like double their portfolio in 1 year. I think though that's probably too lofty expectations. I like to try and keep my expectations somewhat realistic, and I think targeting a 3% return on your portfolio every month is pretty doable if you know what you're doing. So anyways, this is the setup for the bull spread there. This one was interesting. This one was only a 50-cent wide spread. I sold the 850 put and bought the $8 put all on one trade ticket, and so that's only 50 cent wide. Of course, times 100. You can probably skip that step. I'm just trying to visually show everyone. So that means you need $50 in buying power for that spread, because it's only 50 cent. The width is only 50 cents, 850 to 8, right? The nice thing about this is it paid $19 a spread. To the untrained eye, you're like, 19 bucks. Yeah, you know, what's that? But do the math. $19 per spread divided by the $50 in buying power. This spread paid 38% return on capital. And trust me, I did more than one of these. It was only 50 cent wide, so I think I did 10 of them, and ended up getting triple digit return on it, you know, and I was super happy. So sometimes I trade the small spreads. I was showing you that Google spread that's 2.50 wide, so you know, 250 bucks. But I'll trade spreads 50 cent wide all the way up to 10 wide sometimes. Of course, a 10 wide spread, just for one spread, you need $1,000 in buying power. So maybe that could be for bigger accounts. But I trade a whole variety of spread widths because I know there's a variety of people in the Discord with different size accounts. So I want to make sure, you know, the people with smaller account, and you do need a margin account to trade these, but you know, most brokers just require 2,000 minimum to trade spread. So I would consider that a smaller margin account. So if you have a smaller margin account, maybe you only got a few grand in there, that's okay. These 50 cent wide spreads would be perfect for you to get your feet wet and you know, get some experience trading them. Once your account grows, then you can move to, you know, the $1 wide spreads, the $2.50 wide spreads, the $5 wide spreads, and etc. So anyways, yeah, obviously everyone can probably tell I like trading spreads. But yeah, you can, once you're in the Discord, you can just go through my alert channel. And this was a Mara spread I did as well. That was a winner. I do take a loss every now and then. I'm not saying I win all my trades because I definitely do not. But and you can see my losers in my alert channel. But the win rate's high if you know what you're doing. There's some more. This was another NVIDIA spread I did. So yeah, you know, we have a lot of fun in here. Let's see what kind of profits we got being posted lately. Where's the profit channel? There it is. All right. Oh, wow. I'm way behind. Looks like we got a bunch of people posting profit. This is actually a free member. You know, we give alerts to the free section as well. You can just join the Discord for free if you want. That's fine. This free member here, look, we're only 2 weeks into January. He's already up 1,200 bucks. His account's up 14%. That's amazing. Let me give him some fire emoji and a heart emoji. Congrats on that. He just posted that too, by the way, a few minutes ago. My buddy Rocket, I've chatted with him several times in the Discord. He's been crushing it on SPX spreads. He's been doing some spreads, and you can see the spread he's doing right here. This is a 5-wide spread, the 69.55 and the 69.60. Boom, max gain, right? Also want to note on credit spreads, the most amount you can make is 100%. So whatever credit you receive on the onset of the trade, that would be your max, what we call max gain. You can't make any more than that. So, you know, I always say this too, when you're trading spreads, right? When you're trading spreads, I'm just going to pull in some numbers out of the air to make it easy to understand. Let's say you open up a spread trade and there's 4 weeks of time on it. And let's say within the first week, maybe within the first few days, boom, the trade goes in your favor. Everything's going fantastic. And you got like 75%, 80% of the max gain on the table in a very short period of time. And you still have a lot of time left on expiration. The profitable thing to do in the long run is probably to go ahead and take that profit. Because if it's a 4 week long until expiration, and in that first week, you get 80% of the max gain because there's your gain is max, or there's a cap on it. Why would you hold it for the remaining 3 weeks for that other little small percent that's left that you can squeeze out of it? It doesn't make sense to do that. If you've been trading for a long time, you know you should probably pocket that, take all your risk off the table, and then maybe you can get a secondary spread trade going on that same expiration date. So think of it this way, you know, you could get 100% max gain on one trade in one cycle, or you could get 2 or 3 75, 80%ers on that very same one cycle. Which scenario would you make more money? it's going to be the one where you took early profit because you got nice gains quickly, isn't it? And if you can rinse and repeat a few trades in that same cycle, you're going to you'll probably make 50% more profit than if you just held on to that one spread trade for the entire time. So you got to know how to manage these. There's a lot of creative things you can do to actually make more money than you thought you were going to make. Okay. So that's kind of like what I do in the Discord and a lot of the coaching I do. I think there's like 110 people in my coaching group now, and they all have one-on-one access to me. They can message me anytime. They can bounce anything off me. If they have a stock in mind that they're thinking about doing a trade on, they absolutely know that they can contact me anytime through DM and bounce the idea off me. Or you know, if they think the question will help other members, maybe they just post it right in the general chat in my coaching channel, and we can have a group discussion about it. And you know, brainstorming with the coaching group is always fun because, you know, I'm not perfect. I'm human. There's things that I don't necessarily see sometimes, and so it's a great community. We're all very supportive of each other. And the spread trades, I try to do 1 to 2 spread trades every week. So you get like 4 to 8 trades a month easily on that. And then on the contract writing side, which is most of my wheel alerts, I usually have between 4 to 6 wheel strategy alerts or wheel strategy trades open at any given time. It's like my pipeline. So there's always 4 to 6 open trades at all times. And then I throw in the 1 to 2 spread trades a week. So there's always plenty of trades to go around. And I try and stay very diverse with my trades, which, you know, not financial advice, but that's what everyone should be doing anyway. If you got 4 separate trades, doesn't it make sense to probably have those underlying stocks in different sectors? Because what if a sector takes a hit one day and you just happen to have all your trades in that one sector? Like you got 4 open trades and they're all in tech. But explain to me how that makes sense. You know, for risk management speaking, it doesn't. You need to be diversified so that if a sector does take a hit one day, you don't get wiped out. So I'm always trading multiple sectors at the same time, and that's how I like to allocate my capital. You know, so I'm not caught being too over allocated to one sector or another. So anyways, but yeah, it's almost 4:45 now. But yeah, you know, I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. This is the last earnings stream for the week. And JB Hunt was actually the only company reporting today. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh, wait, this is for tomorrow. There is one company reporting tomorrow, BOK Financial. Maybe I'll talk about them a little bit tomorrow. But nonetheless, JB Hunt still trying to find the bottom. You can see it. They keep hitting their head on this 25% retrace here. So that's a key level for them to reclaim. That's at 197.50. I don't have much confidence this is going to reverse until that gets taken out. But so far, it's kind of trading right underneath it. It hasn't really it hasn't come down and made a new after hours low yet. So it's as time goes on, it's looking like that maybe the bottom's starting to come in, and it could be there. So, but it's not down a ton. For, you know, a little words of encouragement for the JB Hunt investors out there. Overall, I think it's a solid company. They have some issues with their revenue growth right now, but it's not horrible. It's not like, oh, okay, throw in the towel, liquidate everything, I'm done with JB Hunt. Not at all. So, you know, this pullback probably be short-lived. You know, this is a multi-billion-dollar revenue company, and nonetheless, they're a strong company. I do wish their cash and equivalent position was a better and more, but it is what it is. There's a reason they're trading up here by the 200s, because they are fundamentally sound, and they do have a ton of revenue. They just got some issues meeting revenue forecasts and showing growth with their revenue. Maybe they can make up for that on the next earnings you know, catalyst that they have in 3 months from now, basically, right? But yeah, other than that, my name's The Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. If you looking for some free stuff, which I love giving out free stuff, if you want 4 high probability trade setups sent to your inbox every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, 30 minutes before the opening bell, check that first link in the description, and you can sign up for it, and it doesn't cost anything. And we've been getting a lot of feedback about that watch list that goes out every morning. But yeah, other than that, I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Again, my name's The Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. I hope everyone has a great night. And until next time, I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Bye.